Go to a press conference that's being held at the Shifa hospital. Earlier on, it was suggested by Israel that Hamas had been using the hospital as a base. Let's listen into the press conference.
Speaking in a non-Palestinian accent, and after due verification, the Israeli occupation forces have been using technology to fabricate audio records and to fabricate images. The Israelis have failed to provide a single piece of evidence to prove that this facility has tunnels underneath or any command center underneath. This is home to more than 60,000 people taking refuge within the compound, in addition to thousands of patients and victims, let alone thousands of medical personnel. The false fabricated evidence made by the Israeli occupation forces are so naive that a sixth grader can fabricate ones like these, and we can make similar ones. I repeat and I reiterate, these are false fabricated allegations raised by the Israelis that constitute no valid evidence. The Israeli recon warplanes and drones have been hovering above our heads for 20 days and for years before. Yet, they failed to provide a single piece of evidence to prove that this facility has tunnels and command center underneath. Another lie by the Israeli occupation forces is that the fuel provided by UNRWA is stolen. It is a fabricated lie. It was refuted by the General Commissioner, Mr. Philippe Azzarini, when he was asked today in the press conference about the allegation that fuel is stolen. He said, verbatim, there is no evidence that fuel coming to the UNRWA was stolen. He added, the fuels reached are very limited and cannot even provide for their operations to the south of Gaza. Even he posted images of the fuel tanks at Rafah crossing, which are currently under construction. These facilities, as we speak, did not receive a single liter of fuel. Even these empty tanks were falsely accused by the Israeli occupation forces as depot for fuel. The Israeli occupation forces targeted those tanks. Another lie propagated by the Israelis. The army spokesman about calling the Gazans to move to a safe area, namely to head to the south. We thank him for his ethics. At the same time, this is utter rudeness, utter hubris. The Israeli are calling people and instructing them to head south, yet they are shelling those safe areas. From the beginning of this belligerence, the Israeli occupation forces targeted the auto marketplace, where more than 70 people were killed. It is a series of false lies, a series of fabricated reports, fabricated and alleged by the Israeli occupation forces. And even as we speak, the Israeli is bombarding the south of Gaza Strip. More than 65% of the victims killed to the south of Gaza are 3,423 Palestinians, more than 65% of all those killed since the beginning of the Israeli belligerence. 568 people were from those who followed the false claims by the Israelis and moved to the south. And even as we speak, the Israelis and their spokesmen are still propagating false reports. A fifth lie is the red-marked areas as marked by the army spokesman. These areas are purely medical facilities within Al-Shifa hospital compound. The first one is the emergency unit where we are standing now. This one is the outpatient clinic, which is now turned into shelter, and also part of it has transformed into operation theater for surgery. This third area is the intensive care unit and other specialized units. The fourth one is the clinic for dialysis. The last one is the incubator for newborns. All these are purely medical facilities. Emergency unit, intensive care units, incubators for baby borns, and dialysis and other units. There is nothing true in the false fabricated claims alleged by the Israelis. Even this incubator is home to dozens of new baby borns. They are the symbol of our hope. Again, the Israeli occupation forces are falsely claiming that the Al-Shifa hospital is containing military facilities. For the past 70 years, we stood our ground, and we will continue to stand steadfast. This is further reinforced by the belligerence of the Israelis. The violence, the indiscriminate killing of our people will turn us more resolved to stand our ground. Therefore, I reiterate, all these medical facilities are operating on 170% occupancy. Now, I will give the floor to the head of the facility to give you further details about these facilities. I would like to point out that the Israelis did not stop at this point. Yesterday, the representatives in the United Nations demonstrated a piece of a video clip showing a heinous crime by a sharp tool. Yesterday, Russia Today posted a report refuting the claims of the Israelis. This report refuting the false accusation was presented to the public. It is an old video, and it was posted on the internet months before October 7th. This is a living proof that the Israeli occupation forces continue with their lies, continue with their false reports, continue with their fabricated evidence. And the last of which was today by the army spokesman alleging that this facility has tunnels underneath. Before I leave, I will give the floor to Dr. Mohammed Abu Silmiya, the head of the facility, to speak in details about the particulars of these units within the compound. The Israeli army spokesman threatens to strike Al-Shifa hospital. He is not only threatening us, he is threatening 2.2 million people. This facility is serving them. All the specialization, surgeries, and all the medical treatments are provided by this center. We are catering to all the Gazans, even from Rafah and Beit Hanun. Simply, it is a death sentence against 2.2 million people. We are standing in the emergency unit. It was opened only 4 months ago. It was built by the UNRWA, and they know exactly from even the concrete pillars underneath up to every single brick by which the hospital was built. And we do not believe that an international organization would build a terrorist facilities. This hospital is serving and catering to all the Gazans, patients, victims, pregnant women, and even baby born. Even as we are operating above our occupancy rate, we are operating everywhere, even on the floor and emergency unit. It is home to thousands of victims, in addition to thousands of medical crews. We have other 5 intensive care units, more than 70 cases on artificial respiratory apparatuses. Any act will put these lives to danger. We have 50 baby borns, who were born with less weight, and they are put in dedicated incubators. Those babies cannot be abandoned. They cannot even be moved from one room to another. We do not believe there is any hospital or medical facility capable of receiving those baby born. As we are running out of beds and facilities, we are operating on the floor. The dialysis unit has 57 apparatuses. The entire Gaza Strip does not have any similar facility. It is catering to more than 150 kidney patients every day. 2 days ago, we were visited by the representative of the International Red Cross, the Red Crescent, UNRWA, and the representative of the World Health Organization. If they believe there is any form of threat or danger, they wouldn't have come here. In addition, we took them around and we have them visit and inspect each and every corner of the hospital. They told us, we have seen and heard about the atrocities, but seeing this in reality is a different story. This facility is catering to the entire Gaza Strip. It is the lifeline of the 2.2 million people living in Gaza. We are trying to cater to our patients and victims. The Israeli army spokesman is propagating false lies and fabricated reports. We are open to the international community. Come and see for yourself. And we call on the media representatives present here to show around. We insisted that this press conference is held at this very part of the hospital. It is the emergency unit, and it is an example of each and every corner of the compound. In the face of the false lies perpetrated by the Israelis, we warn that what is being falsely propagated by the Israelis is a precursor for striking this medical facility. It is a precursor to perpetrate yet another Holocaust, another pogrom. This is the usual practice of the Israelis. This is exactly what happened when they bombarded Al-Ahli Baptist Hospital. They falsely alleged that the resistance fighters are using the facility. I reiterate, these are false reports. They executed their threats and shelled the Baptist hospital, killing 500 people on the spot. I warn the whole world. I ring the alarm bell. There is imminent danger hovering above the medical facility. About 80,000 lives, 80,000 lives, patients, victims, medical personnel, and people taking shelter in the facility. All those lives will be at risk. If anything happens to them, their blood will be on the international community's hands. This medical facilities is supervised by the UN, WHO, UNRWA, and other international organizations. And all those organizations are responsible for the safety of every single life in this facility. It is not responsibility, it is an obligation. This flagrant threat comes by the Israelis as they intensify their airstrikes, targeting the food supply stores and other infrastructure, including bakeries, water tanks, even small supermarkets. This also comes with another threat to service facility of the municipality serving 1 million people, which means the municipality will be totally out of operation, and this facility, as a result, the lifeline of the health sector and the lifeline of the service sector will be torpedoed. We are left with very few food supplies and very few bakeries, which were at hand before this belligerence. It is nothing short of genocide. It is a death sentence against 2.2 million people in Gaza. If Al-Shifa hospital falls, the entire health sector will fall. The entire health sector will collapse. Once again, we reiterate, amid the threats voiced bluntly by the Israeli occupation forces, turning a blind eye to the war ethics, human rights, or human values, they continue with yet another crime. The whole world and the international organizations must live up to their obligation. Let the Israeli occupation forces allow representatives of the international organization into Gaza. The Israelis continue with their false lies if those representatives are allowed in, they can come and refute the false fabricated reports propagated by the Israelis. This is the reality. We are standing in Al-Shifa hospital. We and all you see behind me are victims to the Holocaust perpetrated by the Israelis for the past 21 days. We are prepared to take you live with the cameras in a tour throughout the medical facilities corners to refute the false reports propagated by the Israelis. We have nothing to fear. We have nothing to hide. We are catering to save lives. It is the only lifeline left to Gaza and the Gazans. Yet again, to their hubris, the Israelis are threatening to strike these facilities. Now, we call on all representatives of the media to take an inspection tour throughout all the facilities mentioned and falsely accused by the Israeli army spokesman to refute the false reports propagated. We will lively refute the false allegations and fabricated reports made by the Israelis. We cannot allow this to pass as a precursor to target more civilians. Unfortunately, the Israelis are encouraged by dozens of media outlets who abandoned their conscience and gave up their professional ethics. Now, we invite you in an inspection tour to see for yourself. You will see the aftermath of this pogrom perpetrated by the Israelis. It is a series, part of the series of their crime. Please join me. Thank you.